Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has one of the most beautiful and haunting soundtracks in video games, and one that is soaked in so much foreshadowing and character motivations that I'd be surprised if any French-speaking player managed to not get spoiled. Seriously, there are some songs that almost fully spoil the game, and thankfully, my years of Canadian French classes have failed me. Today, I'm gonna show you the translations done by the amazing Arasuni on Reddit, then deep dive really deep into the lyrics to explain what the composers of Expedition 33 were able to sneak in. Like how Renoir's boss theme explains Verso's true motivations, or how the world map after Act 2 tells you the fate of all the main characters. Or even, well, I'll get to it. This is a Expedition 33 music deep dive and heavy spoilers ahead. To begin, let's start with one of the most important pieces of the game, and the first one you hear, Lumiére.
Dim, dam, dadilam, vacarme, s'en va dans l'oubli éternel, et Gustave dom guardiam.
What you may have noticed, or not noticed, is that the songs in Expedition 33 are not strictly in one language. Songs like Maelle and, sorry for the butchering here, lendemains, écrits are basically entirely in French, but most are dancing this line between French, English, and Latin to make this new language, like a hybrid of everything. So it makes translating the songs very difficult, with a lot of interpretation and figuring out words based on context or other songs. For example, in Lumiére, you have words like guardem or gardio that Arasuni interpreted as guarding, because again, there is no definite translation. I'll be mentioning when songs are more interpretive and which are more full translations. For Lumiére, it's a mixture of mostly French sprinkled with terms like gardien. But what is the song trying to convey? It turns out that right under our noses, or ears, I guess, the song is explaining the entire plot. Lumiére, or Lutetia in the song, which, fun fact, is the original name for Paris, is being torn apart by Renoir, the painter version, underground. He is literally trying to tear the fabric of this painted world apart, all while those who stay above, like Gustave, my beloved pseudo-protagonist, try to protect it.
For those who come after. Right?
Gustave is literally the one who guards the dome, with Gustave both representing himself and the expeditions. What I love is that this song is very upfront with Renoir and not the Paintress. In fact, she's not even mentioned in the song. And this Renoir could refer to either the painted version or the real one. Painted Renoir and Gustave obviously have a bitter relationship. Turns out killing all his friends and then trying to hurt Maelle tends to leave a grudge. So there is clearly a rivalry there. But I think that real Renoir is the main interpretation here. Here's my French coming again. Les toits à ce Renoir griffera. Or the roofs this Renoir shall claw at. That is an amazing line because it's metaphorically and literally happening. We find out later that Renoir was stuck underground, under the monolith, trying to claw his way up to defeat the Paintress and save his wife, let's say. That's obviously up to interpretation. Yeah, he saves his wife. Yeah, but it also encapsulates that dread that the Paintress is holding back with lines like clawing. Renoir is trying to end this world, and he's been trying to do it for over 67 years in the painted world time. We have no idea what it's like in real world time, which is what makes the line or Lumière shall be, Dolilum, we shall be so powerful. It's both a statement on the futility of the expeditions and stopping the Paintress, but also a reaffirmation of their dedication to their people. Lumiére needs to live on. It has to live on, and yet it won't. It will not live on, and neither will anyone in this world. If Lumiére lives on, we live on. If Lumiére dies, we die. And as we know, Lumiére is already slowly dying, a physical representation of Verso's painting. Stuck at sea, its population slowly shrinking. The last verse really explains the story.
Clair Obscur, trouble de rature, trouvera effet. Clair Obscur, bordé aux peintures, trouvera sans elle.
Clair Obscur, erase your trouble, shall bend Eiffel. Clair Obscur, guarded painting, shall find without her. The song is spelling out the clash and consistent power struggle that Aline, the paintress, and real Renoir are having. They are slowly dissolving this world. The Eiffel Tower, this huge monument, being forced to bend and break to their whims. I also see guarded painting shall find without her is foreshadowing that the paintress is trying to save Lumiére inhabitants as much as she can, and that as soon as she disappears, Renoir will sink his claws into this canvas and rip it to shreds. Oh, and the dee-dee-dum part of the song, I mean, that's just fun to sing. I totally get why you put it in there. It just gets in your head. Do you see how much we missed in the opening shot of the game? As Gustave throws an honestly kind of Otani level pitch at the Paintress, Renoir isn't properly explained until at least Act 2. And even then, the Renoir the song is talking about isn't seen until Act 3. But the composers have already begun to set the scene for what this game is about. What will happen to Gustave and Lumiére and eventually the entire painted world. And that's what makes this music so special. In the behind the scenes of making the music of Expedition 33, Laurent Testard, the composer, mentioned that he was brought on very early on in development, only able to see parts of the script and concept art as a base. But that just meant that both he and Alice Dupour-Percier could really build the music to become integral to the storytelling experience. They could have kept it vague, leaned into foreshadowing early surprises like the expedition being almost wiped out, or Gustave, you know. But this first piece of the game is not holding anything back. And honestly, it's just the tip of the iceberg. On a quick side note, the song Clair Obscur, you know, the one that shares the same title as the game, has the exact same lyrics as Lumiére. The main difference here is that the song has more of a finality to it. The mix is much more ethereal with reverb and accompanying instruments, like a song that is slowly dissolving. And considering our final act takes place in Lumiére, or underground trying to parry Simon's attack for the 99th time, it feels like the perfect song to end the game. And now we're on to my favorite part. I wanted to pick a party member that wasn't from the Descendre family to explore, and considering that Monoko's lyrics for his song are just basically dog barks, I went with my favorite character, Sciel. Sciel is easily one of the best characters from Expedition 33. From her personality to her design, I mean, she has dual sides. It's just Darth Maul but sides. That shit's sick, dude. But then I got into her backstory and it just solidified my opinion. And the song does a great job in exploring and expanding on it. For those who don't know Sciel's backstory, I recommend playing the entire game. It's 100% worth it. But I'll give you a quick recap. Sciel was deeply in love with her husband, Pierre. This is before the expeditions, when an accident on another island killed him. Sciel describes this pain so well.
I was prepared for his gommage. but not for him to die in an accident. We were supposed to have 5 more years together.
And it's a gut punch because you learn about this halfway through the game. After which, the pain of losing him drove her to darkness and eventually led to her trying to drown herself at sea. We find out later that it was Sciel who saved her from drowning, and I know they don't show it, but I found this insanely beautiful concept art piece showing the scene. It's just, this game is so good, guys, it's so good. The worst part though, which you may have noticed in the scar on her belly, is that she was pregnant. And that stress and pain from almost drowning meant that she lost her child. A child she didn't know she had, and her last remaining connection to Pierre. Tell me that isn't one of the most depressing backstories you've ever heard in an RPG. And I know you're probably gonna put in the comments that there's way more deep ones. If there is, let me know. We gotta start it depressing off. Who's the most depressed RPG character? I'm sure there's a Final Fantasy character that's fucked up. Her theme really captures the state of limbo that Sciel is forced to stay in, but from a perspective of empathy and understanding. The song is entirely in French. No crazy words, just poetry. But beyond that, I have a theory that this song is from the perspective of those who love Sciel, her husband, her friends, her students. They understand Sciel's pains and heartaches and ask her to go forward despite everything. The first verse of the song really evokes Sciel's fiery side, her teasing, her quick wit, love of her friends and her husband, and the shock of losing him.
Lui, étincelle, fragment essentiel, éclat, clarté, ardent regard vigilant, heure du néant.
The final line, ardent regard, vigilant, heure de nantes, or intense glance, attentive, shock/hour of naught. It describes that hard and sudden shift that Sciel will have to deal with for her entire life. In the next verse, we get this juxtaposition of lines. Inerté irréelle. How the fuck do you say that? Inerté irréelle, or illusory inertia, and à-coup existentiel, or existential jolt. The song is describing this life-defining moment for Sciel that is wrapped in nothingness. I'm not really sure if I'm describing that right. It's like the song is describing how Sciel is becoming hollowed out. And yet, in that last line of verse 2, talking about the splendeur de l'arc-en-ciel, or splendor of the rainbow, it hints that there is still that fire in Sciel, because that's who she is, that there's still beauty around her, even through all this grief. The next verse, I might be diving in a little bit too deep, but I see each one of these adjectives at the beginning of a verse as different facets of Sciel and her mental being. The first one is sentinel, being a strong, stable support for not only the people around her, but the kids she teaches. But it's also wavering, the va-et-vient retinien, or retinal back and forth. It's clear she's having a hard time being that pillar that she feels she needs to be. The next one is peaceful. As time goes on, Sciel clearly comes to peace with what happened, but she does this by embracing death. Sciel signs up for the expedition. The next line is ton art en assassin, or your art is fatal. In her own character trailer, the quote for her is, "Death is a friend who will welcome me home." But we only really see this acceptance when real Renoir first gommages everyone. And Sciel just look at her. Death has always been an internal part of her, both physically with her lost child and emotionally from losing Pierre. The next verse line is free. For Sciel, joining the expedition and even swimming out in the sea is her grabbing freedom from this hollowness she feels. But I can also see free meaning that by embracing death, she has the most free outlook compared to any other expeditioner, or anyone in Lumiére. When Verso specifically asks her why she seems so cool all the time, she responds that it is her relationship with death that allows her to be so calm. And then the final line, airy. In her mind, Sciel is one with death. She floats with the wind. She allows herself to be taken and go with the flow. She is fighting for those she loves, but not for herself. She lost everything so long ago. And I think that's what makes it so beautiful. Sciel would never say the mission because this mission isn't for her. It's for her friends and her students, for the people of Lumiére. The next verse.
Ciel, ton chagrin annuel t'ôte l'éternel. Éveille, veilleuse. Attends, la toile s'efface dans le temps.
I mean, my God. This line dives into the pain she feels from losing both her husband and child and the strange comfort that comes from time. The song dances through the idea of death, both through the vigil of the night and fading in time, hoping that it will become an eventual comfort for Sciel. But what I think is interesting, I'm recording this and I'm rereading the lines and I'm noticing that it's like, she can't even get to death either. You cannot get to the eternal. But that means that like Sciel is one with death, but she can never be dead. Do you know what I mean? Like she can never get what she fully wants, which is also heartbreaking that that's one of your characters. Like what? The RPGs with where you have a dog as a party member. I mean, I guess that's Monoko. Now I think about it. The final verse is very interesting. You can interpret this as the people she lost talking directly to Sciel, asking her to let the comfort of time moving forward to be her friend, asking her to allow herself to live life, to shout and yell, to get angry and sad and happy, anything at all, just not nothingness. And hoping that in time, her soul that has such a huge hole in it is eventually healed. I like the idea that the song knows that Sciel does not have hatred in her heart. She just has nothing. And yet those she has lost are asking her to stand on her feet, to move forward, not to find a new purpose, but rather just to live, to emote. And for such a heartbreaking character as Sciel, it's perfectly made. What you may have noticed throughout Sciel's theme is this violin that comes in to accentuate the lyrics. For example, at the end, you can hear it come in and give this almost hesitant yet deeply emotional piece. In the composing the music of Expedition 33 background piece, Laurent explains how he wanted this musical identity for all the characters. For example, Gustave's instrument is the cello, which Laurent sees as representing this feeling of love, strength, but also sorrow. It works perfectly for Gustave's own motivations of pain, but also his love of Lumiére. Monoko's instrument was the saxophone to relay this feeling of energy and liveliness, and even madness, according to Laurent, which kind of makes sense. Man loves enemy feet, that's kind of fucked up. Luné's is the bawu, the Chinese reed instrument. Maelle balances both the cello and the piano, representing both Gustave and Verso. Some little foreshadowing going on there. And Verso's is very clearly the piano. What's really cool is that you can hear the piano in almost every theme, reaffirming that Verso is the connective tissue that brings them all together. Except for, Monoko, where he kind of has this jazzy keyboard, but I'm counting that. What's amazing is that the composer was able to build these characters within the music. Through the lyrics, of course, but also through giving them their own distinctive instruments. He could have easily given Lune the guitar, the instrument she literally plays in the game. But instead, he chooses the bawu, this reed instrument that almost seems to change its tone with the wind. It gives this feeling of nostalgia, which works perfectly with her axon, the Sciel, who moves with the wind and shows the group's faces from the past. Synergy, baby. I mean, this game rules. It's crazy. We've all heard this a million times, right? You're trying to take down the same boss way too early. Your boy took out Sprong before the damage cap was removed. Took me quite literally 35 minutes. Do I regret it? Yes. Would I do it again? Yes. And for French speakers out there, I really do empathize with you on this song. This song just basically explains the rest of the plot right at the beginning of Act 2. The song is a combination of French and fake Latin, with words like grisa, which was interpreted as to turn a painting gray. As we dive into the first verse, the song immediately mentions Aline, who's the paintress, but we don't know that. Who the hell's Aline? Aline, being extremely distraught that her son was killed in a fire, dives into his painting, only to have her husband come in after her to try to destroy it. So there's this hatred that Aline has towards Renoir, but I think to herself as well. She's grieving and just can't let go of this world. She wants to dream and forget, but she can't. Not with Renoir fighting her, not with the real world calling her home. The second verse is much harder to translate, but it's definitely reinforcing the first verse, talking about doom and dreaming. But the third verse is just a full explanation of what happens in the last 20 minutes of the game. Verso's goal is to destroy not the paintress, but the entire canvas. Remember, he's been here for 100 years, 67 years. 100? It makes him 100 years old. I'm doing the math in my head. Think about it. He hasn't been here for 100 years. 77 years. He's been here for years, so that makes him 100 years. He's part of Expedition 33. There's a lot of math going on. Remember, Verso's been here for like 67 years. He's felt almost endless suffering, felt like he betrayed his first true love, Julie. He wants this to end, and he's sick of the real DeSandro family forcing him to stay alive. Maelle, on the other hand, is clearly distraught from losing Gustave, but also the deep-rooted sadness of losing her actual brother, Verso. What I love is that the verse then switches to Alicia, and we see that she wants to rip the canvas as well to help her father, Renoir, and to save her mother, Aline. What I love is that it doesn't say that Renoir is going to tear the canvas like Verso or Alicia. Instead, he's essentially going to gut it. He's literally trying to take the chroma or color away from the paintress to starve her out. He's gonna wash the painting away. What a gut punch, man. This song is so good. The fourth verse explains the fate of our characters. Verso is doomed no matter what he does. Both Painted and real Renoir are gonna lose their son, no matter if he is with or against the paintress. And this is reiterated in the fifth verse, talking about how Maelle is going to be the deciding factor on how this painting will be shaped.
Verso. Again,
We learn about this in the last like 20 minutes of the game. And you're just casually hearing this while looking for Nevron feet for Monoko. I wonder if Alorian just thought like, yeah, most of our audience is gonna be dumb and won't be able to hear any of this shit. I mean, you're not wrong. Not you guys. I'm sure you guys heard it, but at least me, I was like, the final two verses are very similar to the third verse, but with important changes. Verso will take down the canvas, but Maelle is now sad and dying. I see this as representing that Alicia will take over from Maelle, and that Maelle is essentially just a personality in Verso's painting. Maelle shouldn't exist. But the line I love the most is amour vivre, or love shall live on, because it's a direct answer to the pain and suffering all the Descentre family is feeling. Verso will die. Maelle will die, but their love, their experiences, all of that will live on. And it's this love of Verso that has unfortunately caused so much pain, hatred, fear, and suffering for almost every character. This is a great time to mention an aspect that I really truly appreciate about how the music was handled in Expedition 33. In a lot of RPGs, or just games in general, music is important, but only as far as support, especially in the last 20 years. Once voice acting became much more common, the music started to be turned down. This isn't a bad thing necessarily, but I think it kind of puts less emphasis on the music. When you're playing an older game like Final Fantasy IX, you really take in the music much more because that's all there is, especially during these intense or sorrowful scenes. But what Expedition 33 does, and I think a lot more games should do, is that it makes the music just as important as voice acting. Take this scene where you confront Renoir on top of the monolith. The music swells and is acting alongside the actors.
That son was a stranger.
But you're not. You're not.
And when the music fully kicks in during these intense moments, when the fight begins, or when he brings out that cool lion thing, it hits hard. It looks cool. I think allowing the music to be really present and heard rather than just support makes the game better. It elevates everything. This song is definitely one of the strangest songs, even by Expedition 33 standards. From the translation doc by Arasuni, they talk about how the song seems to be switching between multiple languages, even in one sentence. Because of this, the translation is more of an interpretation. So I'll be giving my own opinion on this version, but it could be that Renoir lyrics are completely different. So with that in mind, the song is talking from Renoir's point of view, but I see it as both painted Renoir and real Renoir. Both know what the outcome of this painting will be. Both are sympathetic towards their wife, and both have felt suffering from what they've lost. But it's also clear in the lyrics that this has made them both very stubborn in what they think the right choice is. Painted Renoir will save Verso and the Paintress no matter what. Real Renoir will destroy the canvas and save his wife no matter what. The first verse comes in very soft after a strong and kind of scary intro.
Esti tonere marina, esti linaki soledad,
sympathetic towards Aline. He talks about how he knows her pains. He understands what she is going through, but it's clear that he is not wavering. Thunder that brings dreams, this thread of only loneliness. This comes off almost as lecturing. In the second verse, you see that it shifts to some Japanese, along with fake Latin and French. But there is that frustration that is starting to build. Renoir thunders, fire Verso, if only in another family. He is adamant on what needs to be done and is frustrated by everything, culminating on the line, Aline has hatred. Like he sees himself as being hated by Aline. That's the only reason she's doing this. Then the music swells and gets intense, but dips down to sympathy. The song is literally Renoir's thought process, from anger to sympathy back to frustration. The third verse is faster and angrier, talking of what Aline has become, like he's pleading with her. Aline used to live. The dreams will live on. Please, Aline, you must live. This is not living. Another point to try to convince his wife is bringing up Alicia and Verso, saying that they will suffer, saying that they will die here. I mean, you are trying to kill them, so you need to let it go, Aline, for them. This is reiterated, but ends with Aline instead of Alicia or Verso, which brings him down once again. The music stops, it slows. Renoir loves his wife dearly. He sees the pain being here is causing for her. He's blinded to her pain, but he's also not making the choice to see more of her side of why she would want to be here. It's just the Verso painted world is the wrong choice, but I understand that you're feeling sad. It's not I understand why you chose it, it's I understand why you're sad, this is the wrong choice. Which is a very kind of dad thing to do. But I think that just makes the final line and the smash of the piano a clear representation of I sympathize with you, but enough is enough. The song is so good at capturing Renoir's own motivations and emotions. The song mixes in sadness with anger. It's like he just wants to shake Aline and wake her up, but he can't. He restrains himself, and he can't bring himself to be fully angry at her. It's amazing to see that Expedition 33 allows the music to really take its time to tell this story. It's not rushing. It's not a quick piece that just shows anger or sadness. The song is a full work of art that has become a partner piece to the game. And it's honestly one of my favorite songs. No, it isn't. I don't really listen to it. It's a great song. It's not a bop though. Put on a bop. Perry, dead. Oh shit, I died. One of the most popular songs in the entire OST, and played when you're fighting the Paintress. This song is one of the most harrowing depictions of the battle that real life Renoir and Aline are having, and how Verso feels about it. The song is very direct too. It's entirely in French, with no words from other languages or made up ones. The song is between father and mother. We hear that literally in the singers themselves. But as the 11-minute long epic progresses, we hear more of Verso and his pleas, culminating in a quiet, somber farewell from the sun swallowed by flames. Damn, did I write that? That's kind of sick. The first verse is from Verso's point of view, as he begs his parents to let him go. They've been fighting for over 67 years. Again, I'm not really sure how that translates to real time, but it must be a long time. And Verso's soul is clearly tired and just wants them to stop. And what I love about this first verse is that the plea is sympathetic to them, even after all the pain and suffering they've brought to Verso's world. Verso has more than the right to be mad, but he's not. You can even see it in the cutscene before the battle with Renoir here. Just look at his face, look at his emotions, how he speaks.
You lost me years ago, and I lost you.
So you leave us no choice. Tell me, how are you different from her in doing this?
I'm tired.
He's just tired. As we go into the second verse, I love how the music mimics flames rising up with the intensity of the music and lyrics. It's such a great example of weaving in themes to the feeling of the music rather than just the lyrics. In the second verse, we hear Aline's side as her pain and anger are so great that she can't do anything but paint. To be alone is to see Verso's sad eyes, his face, and to truly mourn. And she can't face that. So instead, à travers l'heure, son rire persiste. Dans chaque couleur, une part de lui l'aimait toujours, même s'il n'est plus ici. Or, through gold, I bit my tongue. Through gold, his laugh persists. In every color, a part of him. Love him forever, even if he's no longer here. Dude, that's a boss battle theme. She painted Verso. This is her admitting that she's mutilating Verso's world because she can't stand to be in her own with her only son dead. And you can hear that in the singing as well. This singing isn't holding back. It's almost yelling this to you. In the third verse, we expand on Aline's feelings as she admits that she needs to do this because painting is her literal escape. And we hear more of Renoir coming in, the parents crying and trying to sympathize with each other that their son is gone. Then they both understand that this painting is the last vestige of Verso that they have left. But my favorite part of the verse is Sur la toile notre amour demeure et se meurt. Or on the canvas our love stays / dies. That last line being sung differently by the different singers. You can kind of guess who's singing what. The male singer sings se meurt or dies, while the female singer sings demeure or stays. This is such a simple addition to the song, but it speaks volumes on the story that we as the player aren't even fully aware of yet. Keep in mind, we are hearing this during Painted Renoir's boss during the Paintress. We haven't defeated her yet. We're just here to avenge Gustave, and avenge him we did. In the fourth verse, we see more of this battle between Renoir and Aline, but also a glimpse into the potential endings of the game. The verses are pretty much identical except for two key lines. The first half of the verse, we hear Aline's side and Maelle's ending. The difference being rester or to stay, and Verso embraced. Stay in the painting, never give up. Then the second half is Renoir's side and Verso's ending, and also where you can hear the male singer become much more prominent. The main difference is hearing lâcher or to give up, and Verso erased. Again, the butting heads of the Descendles family. In the 5th verse, we switch perspectives from Aline to Renoir solely as he talks directly to her. What I love here is the emphasis on empathy. He loves her, her painting, her touch, her every being, and he's begging her to come back to the real world. Listen as the violin comes in, brings this song to a somber moment, like an intense argument slowing down. But Renoir is very stubborn, and he does not mince words. Reach out my hand and beg of you, come back. The 6th verse gets really quiet as we get this contemplation from Aline, or you could see anyone from the Descendles family grieving.
Chaque ombre son visage, dans chaque ligne son passage. Si nos pulsations jouent à contre-temps, mon amour veille attend. Chaque éclat, son doux rire, dans chaque couleur, son sourire. Si nos pulsations jouent à contre-temps, mon amour reste attend.
This pain, this hole that has been created from Verso dying. I particularly love the line, si nos pulsations jouent à contre-temps, or if our pulses play off beat, followed by the line, my love will watch over and wait. Put the meme of Antonio Banderas older just looks like I'm sucking a dick. Don't put that. This poetic half step on saying Verso is dead, which keeps in character for Aline not really accepting Verso dying, is so beautiful. I honestly think it's probably my favorite line from all the songs. It's just, what a great way to describe it. Like, he's not dead, his pulse is just off beat of mine. And I will make sure he feels my love regardless. That's the way I interpret it, and I think that's beautiful, man. Then in the 7th verse, we get the crux of the game. Painting versus erasure, life versus death. And we hear Clair Obscur, which is the French word for the painting concept of, I f***ed this up because now it's Italian, chiaroscuro. Chiaroscuro, or the artistic depiction of strong contrast between light and dark. It's particularly used to give a 3D effect to painting. But ultimately, it is still just a painting. I mean, okay, isn't that like Verso? That's just Verso? You're giving a 3D, you want it to be real, but it's not. It's still a painting, and it is a perfect representation of Verso. I mean, like, the 8th verse just emphasizes this, going over every important member of the Descendles family being stuck in this harsh contrast between light and dark, life and death. After this, the final few verses are Verso talking to his family. He repeats the first verse, his plea to stop his family from indulging in escapism. Then, as we jump into the next verse, he takes the previous 2nd verse, the one that had Aline's feelings, and recontextualizes it as something to grow and move on from. There is hope and optimism in the world. You are all together. You are going toward the future. You will find a way to survive from this pain. As we get to the end of the song, the intensity falls right at the line, adieu, or French for farewell. Verso is taking the literal arguments from his parents and asking them to see beyond the painted world and to finally say goodbye to their son. Let him go, he begs, and then says his final goodbyes. What a gut punch of a way to end a song. Verso was trying to ground them, and what a way to do it, by pushing that grief in their face, by taking their own arguments, flipping them and showing it back to them, by asking them to acknowledge and accept it outside of his world and to let him finally rest. It honestly makes the song like 10 times better once I knew the full lyrics. I mean, Lauren, you put this in a boss theme? I'm used to like groovy boss themes like this, not ones that make me bawl, although that does slap. They both slap. Do you imagine being a French speaker trying to parry this guy frantically and the music is just blasting these deep themes and story beats at you? Hey, guess what? Renoir is the fucking bad guy, but he also isn't not the bad guy. And you're like, oh, he's a lion. Alicia and Maelle's themes are essentially the same, but one is in a made-up language and the other is French. What I love is that we hear Alicia's theme very, very early in the game and throughout the entire journey, but it isn't until we hear Maelle's theme that we can really start to understand what is being said. Again, themes. I see Alicia and Maelle's theme as a song that can describe almost every version of Alicia. Alicia de Centre, Painted Alicia, and Maelle. Each Alicia mourns for their brother Verso lost in the fire, for Gustave lost to Renoir, and the mourning of just being alive. In the line, aimer, oublier, être rêvé, or to love, to forget, and to dream. You can really feel that Alicia, no matter her version, is desperate not to experience the grief that she feels. She knows that she will love them, that she will cry, but her goal isn't to embrace, but rather avoid, much like her mother, Aline. This is Alicia, both real and painted, longing for what Maelle has. Peaceful ignorance. You can see this longing elsewhere in the game through Painted Alicia's poem to Maelle, talking about that peace that comes with ignorance. This scene.
I envy them, those who can't see, those who know not that they are not, and those who live, blithe and free, sins forgotten, and thus absolved, a fresh dawn in their playground, while we live in shadows, swimming in ink. We are but a fragile dream, a singular weed, resisting, ever resisting, that iron dirt, that eternal law. Those who can't see, those who know not that they are not. Do you know? We are fellows, those who know not that they are not.
For Painted Alicia, she'd been purposely made by real Aline to be scarred and disfigured like in real life. The real tragedy is that Aline could have painted her like Maelle, but chose to make her muted and scarred. And so she shares many of real-world Alicia's desires to be free, but for her, freedom is death. It's what we see her ask real-world Alicia at the end of the game. She wishes to be let go. The final lines, refers to both painted and real-world Verso. Real-world Verso's night is literally the end of his life. It's clear that real-world Verso did not want to be a painter, but rather a musician. And to me, in a final act of clarity and defiance, he lets the fire take him over. That's what I see the moon being. It's real-world Verso's choice. I understand I'm taking some liberties here, but I think that the moon being close to Verso represents that feeling of acceptance, the bright spot in a dark sky. That's why when we see him perish, he is smiling with his hand extended. On the other hand, painted Verso's night is a lot deeper because we just know the character more. His night can refer to him being in the darkness of his real world counterpart. With the real him being deceased, Verso has to face the consequences of the rest of the Sciel family. And also, that's a crazy existential thing to kind of go through. Hey, guess what? Not only are you not real, the real version of you is dead. Excuse me, what? Forced to be immortal, to know that he does not exist, and knowing that he could never be in the real world. And the moon can represent that longing for the night to end. Alternatively, his night could refer to him being the last part of Verso that is alive, with the moon representing his last bit of soul clinging onto life, even if he doesn't actually want that. What I love about this translation interpretation is that since this is Alicia's theme, it fits with her almost ignoring her brother's wishes to live happily unaware. In Maelle's ending, it's her who continues to paint, forcing Verso to be alive almost for amusement. Thus the ending where it shows he's literally putting on a show for everyone. Although I'm not a fan of this ending, it fits the music thematically. I think it's kind of a crappy ending. Sciel's such a good character, you just let her die like that. I could make a whole video on that, on how frustrating the ending makes me feel, at least Maelle's ending. Verso's I liked, but it's not the one I chose, and then I got f***ed over. What I really love is that once we hear Maelle's version, everything makes sense. I think this is significant because in Alicia's eyes, Maelle is without flaw or issue. She's the Alicia who is happy and blissfully unaware. Alicia's version is this made-up language, both because Alicia in real life is mute and can't properly communicate the way she used to, but also because Alicia is feeling so much suffering and pain that it's hard to cut through the noise. I just really like that the composers did this, unveiling the curtains for Maelle and keeping it closed and mysterious for Alicia. Now, I don't know how long I've been talking to you. Could be an hour, could be 10. It's definitely not 10 minutes. It's at least 30. I think it's at least 30. Anyway, this will be the final piece I talk about for the video. But there are countless more songs that can be deep dive. Check out Arisuni's Reddit post if you want to see the full translations, but also let me know down in the comments if you want me to continue this. I'm always happy to talk about more Expedition 33. Also check out our Patreon. This is the ending song for Verso's ending. Now, because you can choose between Maelle's ending and Verso's ending, there is a debate on which one is the true ending. But I feel like this is the true ending. Considering how bleak Maelle's ending, which honestly was a big mistake, Verso's ending has a lot more of a finality to it. This piece gives the feeling of an ending, like the song for a eulogy. It is entirely in French, which makes me feel like this is the final piece of Verso that we have peeled back to see what he actually feels. Because I see this piece from the perspective of Verso, mainly painted world Verso, but also real world, talking directly to his family, but also mostly Alicia. The first verse is clearly talking about both Verso's painting and the real world where the Sciel family is. Verso is talking about how the worlds mimic each other because both are dealing with the grief of losing real world Verso. There's a deep sadness penetrating both realities, and Verso again is sympathetic, but asking his family to move on. The last line,
L'autre nu et réel, où notre deuil prend place.
Feels like Verso talking to Alicia directly. He knows there are two worlds, but he sees the painted one as defeated, destroyed, and ultimately just a dream. The next verse has Verso asking both Alicia and Aline, the two who got most involved in Verso's world, to look away from his painted world.
Au lendemains, écrits sous les étoiles où tout commence. rien ne finit. Dans l'étreinte du destin, les liens restent éternels dans le dessin.
There's an optimism to the outside world that is given. While tout commence, rien n'est fini. Or where everything starts and nothing ends. It feels like we're hearing how Painted Verso sees the outside world. One of endless possibilities that a canvas can never replicate. But there's sympathy there too, letting the entire de Sancho family know, especially Alicia, the connections and memories inside were never fake. La ligne restant éternelle dans le dessin. Connections stay eternal within the drawing. And I mean, they're literally waving at the end. Oh God, they look so good. Esquier, my boy. The third verse is this gracefully written poem about the uncertain future, how beautiful it is, without a speck of negativity.
Toile vierge, horizon lointain, peignons ensemble les couleurs de demain. Au clair obscur, œuvres infinies. Chaque pas trace la route d'une vie.
It will only get better. You can only grow from here. Chaque pas trace la route d'une vie. Every step traces the path of life. By mentioning Clair Obscur, you know, the light and dark motif, Verso is painting us a picture of life being like his very own painting, but one that will never end. One where the suffering can end, without the world itself disappearing. I really like how optimistic Verso feels here. Like he's trying to build a world in Alicia's head that is better than the painted one. The final fourth verse is just the second verse said again. So what does the song mean overall? Well, in the song, Alicia and the Sancho family are getting their final goodbyes from Verso, both painted and real world. Although we never met real world Verso, remember that painted world has a part of his soul. I'm confident that painted Verso's sentiments and words are essentially exactly what real world Verso would want to say. Even in the end when he defeats Maelle, those words blend so well with the real world Verso smile. Just listen to this.
Don't do this. Don't leave me again.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, huh? You've got this incredible power to paint. You'll never have to suffer a life you don't want. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
It's a heartbreaking but necessary act. An older brother asking his sister to move on. Shout out Ben Starr. Hell yeah.
What the
fuck is a hot dog? And that's what makes this song so beautiful. It's so hopeful compared to the pain that painted Verso went through. Losing Julie, losing his family, understanding that he is nothing more than a pawn for grief by his semi-real mother, and yet he has nothing but love for this family, especially Alicia. And this is his final goodbye. Something real world Verso did not get. What I love is that the final part of the song, well, just listen. Do you hear it? Maelle's theme comes in. It's also a cello. Shout out Gustav. You see the synergy again? Dude, it blends in right after the final line. This song is for Alicia. It's for Maelle. It's about a brother who loves his sister so much, who wants her to live her life fully. It's what every single version of Verso wants. But these are just some of the tracks from Expedition 33. There are dozens more, from Luné's theme to Aline's theme and Renoir's, and for the songs that don't have lyrics that I can't deep dive into as much, though I could if I wanted to, I thought I would give a quick shout out to just some of my favorite pieces. Lost Voice. This one has one of the most harrowing pieces of sad music I've ever heard. It's soul ripping, but in a gentle way. It really nails that slow acceptance of death that every single character goes through. Gustave and Sophie, at least you guys are happy in Maelle's ending. Gustave, my boy. Ancient Sanctuary Entrance of the Village. This one didn't originally hit me until I was researching this video. What I love is the slow beginning with the strings and flutes as it builds to this point and then stops. Taking a deep breath before marching back in with this beat that just screams, we're on a journey of a lifetime. It just feels like something that would be this epic moment in a regular game, but it's just another step for the Expedition 33 soundtrack. It's hooray. Go Blue. This song and area was the exact spot where I fell in love with the game. The sonar beep as a beat, the mysterious but amazing vocals that build to this really cool overlaying theme, it's so good, especially when the beat drops and everything comes together. Magic. Sirène Robe de Nuit, or the Mermaid Nightgown. This is a dungeon theme. A dungeon with such mystery and beauty to it, with this dancing axom in the middle. The music perfectly encapsulates that serenity. The wood flute coupled with the plucking strings really gives that Renaissance vibe, but I think most importantly, it gives the feeling of wind blowing through a scarf or through a lush forest. So peaceful, so amazing. And there are so many more pieces like that. It's what makes Expedition 33 such a genre-defining game, especially in music. If you happen to watch this whole video and have not played the game, I spoiled a shit ton, I'm really sorry. But also, go play it still. It's so worth it. Having these moments where the music hits and you get immersed in the world, it's unparalleled. I can't tell you the amount of times I'm playing a boss fight like Monoko's and I'm just hanging out, I'm like, let's see what this guy is. And then a saxophone hits you and it's crazy. And if I still haven't proven it with these pieces, well, there's one more piece, not even on the official soundtrack, that might just get you hooked. Frame on, gamers.